When you open the document that I've sent today, I would want us straight away to write the name mapping here. You write mapping here, mapping. Now they're able to hear me very well. You write mapping. I would want to classify my accounts. After you write mapping, I would want you to come and click anywhere inside this table. You click anywhere inside this data, the range, and then we convert this range to a table. How do we convert a range to a table? You simply say control, holding on to control, you say control T, T for table, control T. Yeah, you say control T. So first of all, you start by writing the word mapping here, and then you will be able to, if I just repeat here, yeah, after you write the name mapping, come anywhere inside, anywhere, can be even here, just anywhere inside this range, and then you say control plus T. So we have here control, so control plus T, control plus T, to be able to create a table, to be able to create a table, to be able to create a table. That is what you'll do. So click anywhere inside, and then you say control. You are holding on to control permanently, and then you say T, control T like that. And then now you should be able to come and say, okay. Now, once you say okay, you can even see the color has changed. You can also see here the table design, table design, table design. So I don't know whether we are together now, all of us. I don't know whether we are together, all of us. Have we been able to create this table? Have we been able to create the table? Have we been able to create the table? Were you seeing my, yeah, Daniel, thank you very much. No, you haven't, no. You haven't written the word, no. That one you are wrong. You should have written mapping, mapping. There is a column you have left out called mapping at the very top, like the one that I did for a map. That is a F2, F2. Not there, F2. F2. You see column F. And then row 2, the intersection. Yeah, there. And then PM, please help me share. Yeah, mapping. And then I'll go and click inside. Click now inside the table. Any figure, anywhere, yeah. Control T. Yeah. Then you say, okay. Great. And then PM, please help me in sharing this document again here. Help me in sharing the document here. It will be very, very important. PM, you always help me. You always help me. Yeah, please do that, please, if you don't mind. And then, ladies and gentlemen, once you do that, I would want you to help me do one thing. I would want us, in this case here, to do what here, like for example, if I want to add a column, if I want to add a column, you can come and write what I've written here. If I want to add a column in between, yeah, in between here, I want two columns to have two columns here. What will I do? These are skills that I would want to use today. So to add a column here, you will come and in this case here, highlight the whole of this column G, like in my case. Highlight the whole of it. All right. And then you will be able to use control plus. So control plus. Control plus. But you see plus, for you to reach the plus is on top of equals. So for you to reach that plus, you must say shift. So it should be control, shift, plus. Control, shift, plus. This is very important for Mwalimu's class today. So come and highlight the whole of this, and then you say control, shift. You hold on to the two of them at the same time. Control, shift, hold on to the two of them at the same time, and then you say plus, like that. Then we'll be able to see, in this case here, a column coming. Yeah. So if I want to add another column, it doesn't matter. So you see now we have got two columns in between our table and these two. You can just write anything here, just here for the sake of learning this skill. Yeah. You see control plus means I'm adding something. Yeah. Yeah, I'm adding a new row. If I want to add even a third one, no problem. I'll come here and highlight this. Once I highlight this, I'll be able to press Control Shift, and then I say the plus, the one that is on top of equals. Very, very important for me to know how to add a new row and how to add a new column. This is really, really important for us. Really important for us. So, ladies and gentlemen, what if, for example, I wanted to eliminate a column? Yeah, of course, I'll use Control minus, but I don't want to teach that today because I will not be using that particular element. Now, the thing that I would want to be using here today, I want you to do me a favor. I want you to come and write the word revenue on top. You write here revenue on top, and then we'll be able to delete. Write revenue on top. Once you have written that revenue on top, I would want you to do a Control Enter. Control and then Enter. Control and then Enter. Yeah. So this has been entered into the database. Now, once you do that, I would want somebody to copy this revenue to the entire column. Yeah. So how will we be able to do this? Copy this to the entire column. How do we do it? Remember, you have to copy and paste. So to copy is Control C, and then now you highlight the whole column. How do we highlight the whole column if you enable, or rather allow me to escape? To highlight the whole column, you simply use Control Shift, down arrow, down arrow, down arrow. All right. So you know there are 4 navigational arrows. We have the arrow going up, we have the down arrow, arrow going east, arrow going west. So then look at what I will do first. So come here, you have written revenue. I'll be telling you why I'm showing you those things. They're the things that I'll be using in my today's session. So then come here and say Control Cow first of all to copy. So you can see it's like it's cutting it, It's cutting it. Yeah, and then while I'm still there, I will now highlight the whole column. How do I do it? It's Control Shift down arrow. Yeah, you highlight the whole column. After you have been able to highlight the whole column, ladies and gentlemen, you paste. How do we paste? Control V. Control V. So you say Control V. Control V, you paste. So I'll be using this throughout this particular analysis of today. I'll be using this concept throughout in this particular analysis of today. Is there somebody who has been able to do exactly what Mwalimu has done by any chance? Anybody who has been able to do exactly what Mwalimu has done by any chance? Thank you very much, PM. PM, thank you very much. Anybody who has been able to do exactly what Mwalimu has done by any chance? Yeah, Alicia is saying, what if in this case you double click on the very first column? That is, you take that love handle and then of course you double click. If you double click like that, perfect. It will give you everything down. But now when you go to the second item, that concept cannot apply. That concept cannot apply. Gaki, do you happen to be having this workbook? Can see you are crying nicely. Do you have the workbook? We start from there. Yes, then it's very easy if you have the workbook. If you have the workbook, there is nothing really to cry about. We shall overcome. We shall overcome. Yeah, so if you have the workbook, this is what we are doing. So then, remember you have here the date, year, financials, amount, and then you write the word mapping, where we shall be able to map our financials, Yeah, you write mapping there. Now, after you have done that, ladies and gentlemen, what are we doing? You come and click anywhere inside. Click anywhere inside here. I have to escape, sorry. Yeah, click anywhere inside, and then you say here, in this case here, control table, control, and then convert this entire range to a table. Control table, yeah, and then you say what here? Okay. You say okay like that. So once you say okay, what would I want us to do? Now, this exercise of mapping one day, as you rise in this accounting industry, whether you're working for public sector or private sector, one day you will be required to map accounts. You will be required in this case to prepare what we call chart of accounts. So now today I would want to map. Already the trial balance has been done for me. Yeah, for example, somebody has been able to do recording here on a daily basis, revenue from supermarkets, this amount, cost of goods sold, supermarkets, revenue from discounters, cost of, so somebody has been able to keep this data very well. But you see now, I don't want to have like revenue from supermarkets, revenue from discounters, revenue from grocery. When I take these particular figures to my income statement, it can only be revenue, cost of goods sold, blah, 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 blah. All right. All right. So you can't have like on the face of the income statement, you can't show like revenue from this revenue. It's not allowed. In terms of presentation of the income statement, it's not allowed. So now I would want to, in this case here, for example, if it's revenue to supermarkets, I would want all these to be known by just one term, which is revenue. And that is why I want to do the mapping exercise. So let me check the comments to see whether, yeah, there is one chart here. Google worksheet and it's not working. Are you not able to just change this to get it as Excel? Because Google worksheet at times in this case here will not really use the same rules with Excel. Yeah, I remember Google is trying really to come up with something very different from this. All right. So then let's now try the map exercise. So basically, I would want us now that we have a table. So let's come here and filter the whole of this. Yeah. And then here, I just want us to search for revenue. Let's search for revenue. Yeah. I can see like other revenue from discounters, revenue. So once I just start typing, I'm able to see all the revenues that I need. So then I'll be able to say, okay, here. Okay. So once you say, okay, now you are left with revenue from various types of revenues. But I would want all these to just be taken to one basket called revenue according to IFRS. So come here and write just one word, revenue. All right. And once I do that, then I will be able to control enter. Control enter. There'll be very many controls here. Control copy, you can write your notes. So you start by control enter, control copy, control shift, down arrow, control shift, down arrow to highlight the whole column. And then the last one will be control paste, control V, like that. So you've been able to say that regardless of the revenue type that we have, all of these will be just called revenue, revenue, revenue in my income statement. Now, please listen. I know you haven't followed. Actually, if I were you, I would just allow Mwalimu to do like the entire thing for the next 10 minutes. And then now I repeat. I think that will be fair for everybody, for you to be able to see the end game. At times you understand things better once you see the end game. So like now after that, I know in my financial statements, the next thing that I will be looking for is the COGS, the cost of goods sold. So I can see the various types here. So come and say, okay, now you can see all over we have cost of goods sold. So come here on top. Of course, you can't have the word COGS. No, IFRS will not allow that. So I'll have to come and write in full cost of goods sold. Write in full. Cost of goods sold. Then control enter, control C, control shift, down arrow, control V. So then that will be able to give me, ladies and gentlemen, my gross profit very, very well when I go to the income statement. Yeah, in the spirit of just having to show you the end game, please allow me to go on and pick the next thing. So after that, ladies and gentlemen, I will be able to pick now the operating expenses. So operate, it's here, the only one actually. So I'll be able to say, okay, so then I will be able to come and just call it the way it is. Actually, this one I never required any categorization, but for the sake of having homogeneity in our methodology, just allow me to come and assume that we still need to categorize it further into what we call operating expenses. Although this one here, it doesn't really need. So Control Enter, Control C, Control Shift, down arrow, Control V like that. After that, ladies and gentlemen, I know now I'll be able to get what I call earnings before interest, tax, depreciation, and amortization. So I need the next thing to be able to understand this, that one I can promise you. So I need what we call depreciation and amortization. Actually, it's here. Yeah, I don't want this. Don't want this. I just want this, depreciation and amortization. Okay. Income statement, according to IFRS, you can't write initials. So then come here and write in full depreciation, and amortization. I'll be able to repeat everything, and this is very interesting. And this should be capital letters. Capital letter, yeah. So Control C, enter first, Control copy, Control Shift, down arrow, and then Control V like that. Yeah, so after that, ladies and gentlemen, then I will be able to look for my interest expenditure. Yeah, so I should be able to look for the interest expenditure. So come here. So then we look for interest. So you're looking for interest. I can see it here. Interest. It is here. Interest. Okay, I can see it is very well classified already, but for homogeneity of methodology, let me just come and write here interest expense. Interest expense. Okay, so Control Enter, Control C, Control Shift down arrow, Control V, like that. We do the last one, which is taxation. At first, even in my case, when I was learning this, it was not making sense at first, but I came to love it. So taxation, like that, taxes. So I can just come and have this as just tax, like that, or corporation tax. Control Enter, Control Shift. No, Control copy first, and then Control Shift, down arrow, and then you come here, and then you do what here, you paste, like that. And once you do that, so come and now show all the things that you would want. So come and show everything now here. Yeah, on the face of the financial statements, this is what I will be having. Now, please listen. The next thing, before I start repeating, I will come and pick this entire column F. Control C. Open a new sheet. So in this new sheet, I would want to copy, yeah, whatever I've been able to pick from the other side, somewhere here, Control V. Very good. Now, so I'm seeing revenue here, revenue all over. So then what I would want to do, ladies and gentlemen, still here on the home page, is to remove duplicates, to remove these duplicates here. All right, these deleting cells. So go to data, yeah, it's here. Remove duplicates, this one here. On the data, remove duplicates. So once I remove duplicates like that, it's telling me which duplicates do you want to remove. Column C, blah, blah, blah. You say, okay. And everything in this case here will really be shown to you like that. So we have revenue, cost of goods sold, operating expenses, depreciation and amortization, interest expense, and then taxation. So then I'll come and write the years that we have. So we have here 2014. There are 3 years. 2015, there are 3 years. 2016, there are 3 years. Now, so, you know, they have given you income statement, or rather, they have given you trial balance for 3 years. and they want you to break it down. So then I'm going to do a conditional sum or sum ifs. So here we have got two conditions. Like for example, we have revenue here and we have the year. Two conditions. Under mapping, under the year. Two conditions. So the conditions are conditions. We have here map revenue. And then number two here, we have the year. Like the first one is 2014. Oh, great. So then come here. So I'm going to use sum ifs. So equals sum ifs. I can see it is here already. Double click. So sum range. So I'm using my original data. So the sum range is the amount. So click here on the amount. Sum range must always be fully referenced. Is there somebody who remembers how we do full reference, full dollarization? Anybody who could be remembering how we normally use full dollarization? I'll be able to repeat everything. I just want to show you like the final thing, what will happen. So yeah, so function F4, like that. And then we say, comma. Now remember, I'm following this. The first criteria range is where we find revenue. Where we find revenue on the maps. Remember, we don't want these revenues for markets on the map. So in this case here, criteria range, revenue range, it is this one. Great. Again, full dollarization. So function F4. Right. I love this. Comma. Now, after that, ladies and gentlemen, criteria range 1, I know the next thing is criteria 1. So I go back to the sheet. So sheet 1, I know the first criteria is revenue, the first condition. Now, if you look at this revenue, it is on an outer column, which is column C. So this column C needs $1. Column C is at in this case here, column C is a benchmark, yeah, at the far end. So I need to come and say shift 4. I know this looks like Greek. You will love it. At the end of the day, everybody will really love this. Everybody will really, really love this. Now, after that, we go to the second condition. So, comma. So the second condition is this year. But now I need the year range. Because you see it's criteria 2 range first. So where do we find these years? No problem. The years, I can see they are here. So come and take the whole of this like that. Remember, if it's a range, it must be fully dollarized. So function F4, fully dollarized. And then you say comma. After that, ladies and gentlemen, now it is the criteria itself. So the criteria itself, I'll be able to get the criteria here, which is 2014 here. But now remember, this 2014 is on top. Yeah, it is a title. And whenever it's a title, this 2014 is a title, can you see here? Yeah, so I would want this 2014 to be referred to, but not fully, because when I go here, it will be changing. So in this case, I would want it not to move when I'm going down. When I'm going down, I'll be making reference to cost of goods sold 2014, operating expenses 2014, depreciation 2014. So you can see this is number 2 here should be held up there. Nafaa kutegwa. So shift, in this case here, not shift, but yeah, shift 4, because it's $1 like that. And then, ladies and gentlemen, that is it. So you'll be able to come here and close brackets, and then you say Control Enter. You have your revenue for 2014 out of those revenues. And because I've used my dollars nicely, come here, take here like that. Now I would want to copy this down, although there is a problem, because like now all the others, they're supposed to be negatives, eh? Yeah. So then what I'll do, I'll simply come here and I say Control C. But when I come here, I'll right click because I want to paste special. Paste special, I want to paste the formula. This formula. And once you paste the formula here, once you paste this formula here, remember we want this to have a negative, because it's a cash outflow. So come and put a negative here. Put a negative there. All right. Then Control Enter. And you can see. So come here like that. Now you can copy this down because every other thing here is a cash outflow. So now you can copy all this down like that. Great. Now after that, I would want extra rows to create like gross profit. So I want to come here. So how do I add a row? So after highlighting this, I'll come and say Control Shift plus. Yeah, and then I have now a row for gross profit. I have a row for gross profit. So this gross profit is very, very important to me. I will come here and then I say Alt equals to add this. But now remember, I don't want to add also the year. This can be confusing. So come here and squeeze this down a little like that. Control Enter, and then you come and push this like that. And then, of course, I will now deduct operating expense from this to get what we call EBITDA. So come here, Control Shift plus, create a column for EBITDA. EBITDA. That is earnings before interest, tax, depreciation, and amortization. So come here. Alt equals, check whether it has taken. I want it to be this plus this. So open this up to gross profit. So gross profit minus operating expenses. So Control Enter. So you squeeze this here. Then I deduct depreciation to get what we call EBIT. EBIT. So come and add a new row. You get in this case here what we call earnings before interest and tax alone. Delete that. So again, it is Alt equals. So push this a little bit. Control Enter. All right. Then now I know I'm taking away tax to just have a profit before tax. Control Shift plus. So now we are having here what we call EBIT. Earnings before tax alone. So Alt equals, so then you squeeze, not squeeze, but open it up a bit. Yeah, Control Enter, and then you come and take this like that. All right, I can even have this bold, Control B. And then now lastly, we have what we call profit after tax, profit after tax. So then come here, Alt equals, Control Enter. That now marks the end of our income statement for those 3 years. And an accountant who is able to do this is a very, very serious accountant. Ladies and gentlemen, before I start repeating, I would want to show you something very, very, very small. Because I can see most of you are really, really troubled. What are we doing? Do you remember in our very first session, we did a multiplication table? Is there somebody who is able to remember in our very first session, we did a multiplication table? Yeah, so I would want to repeat that. I would want to repeat that because that is the backbone of the accountant who is good in data analytics. Please allow me to just repeat that to show you why do I make use of these dollars. Now, so I'll open a new sheet here. So remember, I'm not even going to use like any shortcut like of writing 1 to 9. Let me just do it manually so that I cannot teach too many shortcuts in just a single session. It will be a problem. Let me just write like that. All of us, we are making this table. We are making this table. All of us. If you remember the Kasuku book sometimes back. So we have 1, 2. Remember there are so many shortcuts. Like now this I can use sequence and series. Yeah, come and pull this. Because now I've been able to identify the sequence. Pull this up to 9, like that. Pull this up to 9, like that. Although I don't want to show you shortcuts here. I can also use sequence from my computer, but I don't want to show you shortcuts. Now, ladies and gentlemen, in this case here, please come to this whole of G, make it bold. Click this one here, make it bold, or whichever column that you guys find yourselves in. So highlight this fully. Also this one where we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the 4. Yeah, look for it. And then you say control bold like that. Control bold like that. And then, ladies and gentlemen, identify those things that need dollarization. The ones that must be, because if you come and say that now, Mwalimu, we are doing equals, come and take equals. So you take this one times this one because it's multiplication table, and then you say enter. And then you try to hold on to the love handle here, all right? And then you try, in this case, you're doing what here? Like, for example, you take this down. You will get very wrong answers. You will get very, very wrong answers. Very wrong answers. Why? Because Excel is moving. And in some cases, Excel rows and columns are supposed to be locked, so they don't move. So like now here, I wanted it to be 1 times 1, 1. 1 times 2, 2. So I wanted this one to be like permanently locked. But if I put like a cursor here, and then I try to show the formula, function F2, you'll see already this thing has skipped. It is this blue and this red. I want it to be this blue with 1. If I come here, and for example, I say function F2, you will see, If I come here and I say function F2, you will see, ladies and gentlemen, it has already skipped. It took 8 times some other number here. I don't want it to be skipping. Because in this case here, we have, ladies and gentlemen, we have here row 4. Row 4, in my case, row 4 is benchmark row. Benchmark or reference. Or reference row. It must be dollarized. At the same time, ladies and gentlemen, we have column G. Column G is reference, and therefore it must be dollarized. Like that. It must be dollarized like that. Now, ladies and gentlemen, so we are saying in my case, G is reference, and then 4 is reference. So whenever I'm doing my mathematics, whenever I see the 2, I must always put a dollar before them. Whenever I see 4, I must put a dollar before it. Whenever I see G, I must put a dollar before it. So please come here and say equals, you pick the first one. You see, when you pick the first one there, you can see the references. We have G and 5. One of them must be benchmark. 4G. You can see G is benchmark. So if it's benchmark, then come before G and introduce a dollar. Come before G and introduce a dollar. Then come here and say times. You pick this one. So now it is H and 4 references. Yeah. H and 4. And you've just told me between these, one of them will be benchmark, which is 4. So I come before 4. Then I put a dollar. I put a dollar like that. And then I say Control, Enter. And then I'll be able to now move this like that. I move this like that. Until I'll be able to get 9 times 9, which is 81. So is there somebody who has been able to do this, ladies and gentlemen? Anybody who has been able to do what Mwalimu has done? Because without really doing that, we shall always get ourselves in trouble. Always. We shall get ourselves in trouble. Anybody who has been able to do that? Please share your screens. I would want to see your screens. Before I continue, I would want to see your screens. I would like to see your screens, please. Thanks, Daniel. Daniel, you're a very good student. Very good student from day one. Yeah, delete that one, and then we do it together. So could you kindly make for me E bold? So go to E, highlight the whole of E first, because it's an outer column, Control B, and then that one bold here. So then before Daniel starts doing his work, the people who are seated here, are they able to identify his benchmark row and the benchmark column? Yeah, don't write anything there. Don't write anything there. We see whether they'll be able to identify. Now we are looking at Daniel's screen to see whether we can identify the benchmark row and the benchmark column. Let's see whether we can identify. So according to Gaki, row number 4 is benchmark. Yeah, row number 4 is benchmark. And then we have here E. E is also benchmark. So please write down there, Daniel. And you can also show them using the cursor why 4 is benchmark. Row is benchmark. Row 4 is benchmark. Yeah. Row 4 is benchmark. And then we have column E is benchmark. Very good. Yeah, that's 4. They are titles and E. Thank you so much. Great. So let's start now the multiplications. So say equals. Yeah. So pick the first one there. So in that first one, am I able to see anything that is benchmark there? E. E is benchmark. So before E, I have to put here times that one. So the one there, I have to put, because I can see one, the reference of one, it's F and 4. And I can see 4 is his benchmark. So I have to put $1 there before 4. And then you enter, Control Enter, thank you. And ladies and gentlemen, you'll be able to take this down. And then you pull the love handle by the side, like that. And then you see 81. Can I have one lady sharing her screen, if you don't mind? Any lady who can share her screen to demonstrate? Any lady who can share her screen to demonstrate, I'll be very happy. Any lady who can share her screen for demonstration purposes. You should never worry. When you're learning, never ever be worried with anything. Nobody's perfect, trust you me. All of us are here to learn. All of us are ninjas who are trying in our own small ways to see that we are perfect at the end of the day. Thank you, Nabira. Thank you so much. So you're able to delete what we have inside. Great. So like in her case, then you can see B. She has been able to make them bold very well. You can see B is benchmark, and the column B is benchmark, and then we have row 3. Row 3 is benchmark. Yeah, I hope they're able to see. Now you can move with speed and they give us exactly that. So equals. Yeah, like now between C and the 3, I know 3 is benchmark. So put, or you want to finish fast? Okay, no problem. So $, there. Great, times. Yeah, that one. Yeah, so put $1 there. Great. Yeah, great. So great. Thank you so much, Nabira. Nabira has been very, very consistent. Thank you so much. 81. Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, please listen. When you look at my presentation, here, when I start doing this, when you look at this, when I look at, for example, we have this 2, so Control B. So 2 will be benchmark. You see this 2 will be benchmark. And when I come here, you can also see C is also an outer column. So C will be benchmark, Control bold. So when I start doing it, that's how you need to understand. That's what you need to understand. So before I start repeating, I would first of all want to do like everything here, afresh, like that. So we start here. Remember, they have given me like a long list of my revenues and expenses for 3 years. and somebody wants you to do, like I've seen people trying to do this, that get revenue for 2014. So somebody starts doing it manually until they go to nearby chemist here to buy drugs. So they went to work. Instead of going to work, now they are buying drugs in nearby chemists over very simple things, which Excel can do for them. I'm so sure there must be somebody who has ever found themselves in those kind of situations where they are buying drugs. Yeah, we shall overcome. So then for revenue, I know here I have this revenue as a condition and 2014 as another condition. That add for me all revenues from whatever trial balance I have. And I don't want you to add revenues for 3 years. I only want you to add revenues of 2014. So I've got two conditions here and I've written them down here. So then we come here and say equals. So I'm using some ifs like that. And then we have here some range. So some ranges are the amounts like that. Remember the ranges, you must always fully lock them. Sorry, I forgot to show you how to fully lock, but to fully lock, you basically press Fn and F4 or F4 alone. So Fn and F4 in my computer. And then you are reading down here. You see this? You say comma. So first of all, I want to get this revenue. So I want to get this revenue. Oops, I've gone to a wrong sheet. Yeah, I want to get this revenue. All right. So this revenue is what I would want. But you see the sum ifs I'm having here wants the revenue range. It doesn't want me to pick the revenue first, the condition only. So then I know where to get revenue. My revenue will not be here because there are different revenues. My revenue will be on this map. So please highlight the whole of it. And then remember if it's a range, so you must come here and fully lock it like that. And then you say comma, so criteria 1. So criteria 1, if you come to this sheet 1, you will see it is revenue itself now. And this revenue, can somebody tell me, ladies and gentlemen, in this revenue, I can see we have C3. But you see here, I can't lock it fully. Because if I lock it fully and I'm going down and I go to cost of goods sold, it will give you revenue still. But you see, I have C is an outer column. So C is the one that I must lock. So C is an outer column, which will affect 2014 revenue, 2015 revenue. So it has to be locked. Continue with the journey. The next one here, ladies and gentlemen, is where they want me to give them criteria 2, which now is the year. You see, I don't have the year. The year it's only 1. So I need to go back to 1.2 where I find 2014 here on this entire range. And because it's a range, come and do what here? Do this to it. Lock it fully, comma, and then now you come and pick 2014. But you have to be very careful because this 2014, inataka 2014 ibaki ihang juu. Unaona kwa hiyo 2 nataka hiyo 2 row 2 ihang juu. Ikuwe applicable. So kwa 2 hapa, put here the dollar like that. And then you'll be able to come, ladies and gentlemen, and close. Then you say enter. Then now you'll be able to come and pull this. Yeah. So come here. Actually, you can even do for one column. Yeah. Sorry. You can even do for one column first. Yeah. So once you get that, you can Control C, but don't do the Control paste here directly because this is special. Paste special. Because you want to paste a formula, right? And in this formula, the cost of goods sold is supposed to be negative here. It's supposed to be negative there. And then you come and enter. Yeah. And then, ladies and gentlemen, you can copy this down. Great. Actually, I love it this way. Great. So now for gross profit, I need a formula. Here. So I'll come and say Alt equals, because I'm adding the 2. Don't add also the year. Take this down. Yeah, come here. You are also adding. So you are taking this plus minus this. Yeah, the gross profit minus this. So Alt equals, you squeeze this up a little bit. Yeah. Enter. You get that. Yeah. Depreciation, you can come here. So Alt equals, when you have done everything, just about now taking this up, enter, come here, Alt equals, squeeze this up, enter, come here, Alt equals, take this up, enter, highlight the whole of this here, then take the love handle, take it to this other side, like that. And then we'll be able to get those numbers. Now remember, ladies and gentlemen, when you have two numbers like you have here, say 67, you have 79, when you are adding them, you don't have to come and say equal sum, right? And then you start in this case here, like for example, doing this. And you say enter. No, you don't do that. Sorry. You don't do that. Sorry for that. You don't come and say here equal sum. All right. And then you start doing this. No. No. This one, if I delete this, I should be able to come and use Alt. There is an ALT beside the window button, Alt equals like that. And then now you do what here? You enter. So the Alt equals, this Alt, very, very important. Alt equals, very important. Alt equals, very, very important. So now, are they ready? I repeat from the very beginning now. Have they gotten most of the things as tools that I would want to use so that now I can repeat from the beginning? Are they ready? Have they gotten the tools which I will be using so that I can now repeat now from the very beginning? From the very beginning. Great, thank you so much. And as we try now you are trying, yes. Now you're trying, I love that. Now we repeat as we try. So then I will be able to close my video so that I can give you videos that are good. Yeah, stop.